The moment you sign the papers on that new polished diesel SUV in 2026, you're not buying into the legendary reliability the car sales rep promised you. You're buying into a sophisticated mandated compte à rebours, a software-locked, hardware-verified maintenance trap. For 3 decades, diesel meant endurance. It meant iron that could eat 500,000 miles without flinching. But marketing is not engineering. In 2026, the diesel engine has been perverted by regulation. It is designed to asphyxiate itself before it hits its first major milestone. This is not some conspiracy. It is simple, fact-driven mechanics that I see failing on hundreds of forensic audits every single year. These cars are not designed by mechanical engineers aiming for perfection. They are designed by politicians and emissions experts trying to meet an impossible number. The result is a machine that relies on an intricate, hyper-fragile ecosystem of chemical scrubbers and electronic sensors just to keep running. Every component is designed to sacrifice the ultimate longevity of the block to meet a short-term emissions standard. If you understand how an engine breathes, you understand the disaster. A motor is a pump. Air goes in, air goes out. The smoother the flow, the happier the machine. But in 2026, your car's exhaust has been choked by mandated scrubbers, primarily the diesel particulate filter, or DPF. On paper, it sounds great. A honeycomb filter that traps harmful black soot. Mechanically, it's a stroke of stupidity. It is like forcing an athlete to run a marathon while breathing through a wet cloth. The engine is constantly fighting back pressure, constantly forcing the turbocharger to work 3 times harder than necessary just to purge the waste. The system only works if the car can purge this soot, a process they call regeneration, which requires the DPF to reach a blistering 600 degrees Celsius. The salespeople tell you the car cleans itself. That's a myth. To hit 600 degrees, you must drive at a sustained high RPM speed on an open highway for 40 minutes straight. Who does this in 2026? Most of your life is urban driving, short commutes, traffic jams. If you drive to work for 15 minutes, the DPF never gets hot enough. The regeneration fails. Again and again. The soot doesn't burn off. It accumulates, it hardens, and it fuses the filter honeycomb. When that computer finally realizes the filter is choked beyond self-cleaning, it passes into a state of panic, initiating what we can call the death loop of diesel engineering. When that FAP is choked and refuses to clean itself, your car's engine control unit launches a desperate countermeasure that will ultimately kill the engine. This is where it gets dangerous. The computer triggers post-injection. It sprays massive unnecessary amounts of gazole after the main combustion cycle, purely so that unburnt fuel can flow into the exhaust manifold, ignite, and force a temperature spike inside the clogged DPF filter. This is violent. It is wasteful. But its fatal flaw is that much of this excess gazole doesn't even make it to the exhaust. It slips past your worn piston rings, runs down the cylinder walls, and dumps directly into your crankcase. Your engine oil is now being diluted by a solvent. The viscosity of your lubrication, the very blood of your machine, explodes. That fluid is no longer oil. It's some half-watery, half-fuel cocktail that can no longer protect a single metal surface. You cannot run a precision machine with this kind of friction. This is exactly why forensic audits show turbos imploding at 60,000 kilometers in 2026. It is rarely the turbo's fault. The turbo died because your car's regeneration loop poisoned its lubricant. This feedback catastrophic doesn't end there. The choked FAP pushes back pressure into the system, forcing your EGR valve to remain stuck open, recirculating toxic carbon-loaded gas back into the intake manifold, choking your cylinders even further with sticky black sludge. Every single sensor, those sensitive NOx sensors that cost a fortune, grinds to a halt. The car goes into a software limp mode, refusing to start because a sensor detected that a filter is too full. It is a digital prison built on fragile emissions tech. By 100,000 kilometers, the critical point is reached. The permanent ash load inside that FAP is too high for any regeneration, forced or otherwise. Pricing the replacement in 2026 can range from 3,000 to 5,000 euros. On a car that is 6 years old with 6 digits on the odometer, this is the final execution. The repair costs more than the residual value of the asset. The vehicle is mechanically salvageable but economically deceased. This is what programmed obsolescence looks like. If you must operate a modern diesel, you better be an open-road trucker. If you are not, you are signing up for an eventual catastrophe. The only true alternative is not a better diesel. It is the loophole of true engineering, the iron that does not need a cloud to know how to move. But wait, the DPF was just the first phase. The true prolonged torture of your diesel engine in 2026 comes from a component with an innocent name, the EGR valve, or exhaust gas recirculation. If the FAP is the cloth suffocating your engine, the EGR is a tube forcing it to eat its own waste. The concept is seductive for an emissions engineer. You take some of the hot, inert, burnt exhaust gas, you cool it down, and you reintroduce it into the fresh air intake. This lowers the combustion temperature, which drastically reduces the creation of nitrogen oxides, the infamous NOx. Great for meeting Euro standards, catastrophe for mechanical engineering. A diesel engine needs clean, oxygen-rich air to thrive. That's why we give it a massive turbo and an intercooler. So what happens when you contaminate that perfect, cold, fresh air with hot, sticky, carbon-loaded exhaust soot? You create a substance that is the sworn enemy of precision engineering, calamine sludge. This is not just theoretical, it is a mathematical certainty. The moment the EGR valve opens, that sludge starts accumulating on your intake valves, inside your manifold, on your throttle body, and eventually it cokes up the EGR valve itself. This is the definition of a machine consuming itself. In 2026, on engines built for the final stage of Euro norms, this process is hyper-accelerated. The EGR valves are sophisticated, cooled, and constantly active, trying to manage a fuel that is lower quality and harder to burn. The loop is unrelenting. When you combine this with the DPF problem we dissected, you understand the total failure. When the DPF is choked, the engine's internal pressures spike. The EGR valve, which relies on pressure differentials, cannot function correctly. It gets stuck, often stuck open, continuously flooding the intake with soot, even when the engine needs maximum fresh air, like when you are trying to overtake on the highway. This is why you see diesel owners paying thousands for decoking operations. It is not because they bought bad fuel, it is because the car's own engineering was programmed to plug its own arteries. The failure is not a flaw. It is a guaranteed outcome. By 100,000 kilometers, the EGR valve is usually so caked in sludge it is either seized or is completely unreadable to the computer, which locks the entire vehicle into a limp home mode. You are now driving a 5-cylinder asset with the power of a 2-cylinder moped, and this isn't just about power, it is about the structural integrity of your engine. Excess carbon buildup on intake valves can lead to poor sealing, which causes a loss of compression. It can cause hotspots on pistons, leading to pre-ignition and eventual engine failure. The system was designed by regulators who care about tailpipe emissions today, not engine survival tomorrow. They have traded the long-term reliability of a mechanical masterpiece for short-term compliance.
This constant grinding friction and self-contamination brings us to the moment of absolute reckoning. Why is 100,000 kilometers the consistent cutoff point for catastrophe? It is rarely about one single spectacular component failure. It is the cascading, systematic collapse of the entire depollution ecosystem that the car has relied on to mask its own engineering flaws. The car's ECU, the central brain, has spent the last 100,000 kilometers trying to calibrate this delicate machine against declining performance, increasing soot load, and failing sensors. At 100,000 kilometers, its ability to compensate hits the wall. This is the moment when the permanent ash load, which, unlike soot, cannot be burned off, only physically removed, reaches critical capacity inside the DPF. It is the moment the EGR's electrical motor fails after fighting through sludge its entire life. It is the moment the multiple NOx and O2 sensors, which in 2026 are specialized, hyper-expensive, and often software-locked, go blind from a life in toxic air. The failure is systematic. You don't get a simple warning light. You get an unresolvable cascade of errors that any garage, even specialized ones, struggles to diagnose without a simple replace everything strategy. A dealer's diagnosis won't just be for AFAP replacement. It will be for the DPF, the EGR, multiple sensors, and likely a software update, totalizing thousands of euros. This is the financial programmed obsolescence point I talked about. It is an intentional design constraint. The components are built to last exactly as long as the mandatory warranty or the average first lease cycle. They have designed a machine that requires a total financial reset to maintain operations. The asset is economically unviable to own past this point. So, what is the loophole? The loophole is not a better diesel additive or an Italian tune-up where you rev the engine hard. The loophole is not to participate in this flawed engineering matrix at all. It is to return to the era before we outsourced engineering to regulators. The truly reliable machines are not the ones with 20 sensors and an ECU. They are the iron designs that rely on pure physics, piston speed, air volume, and robust all-mechanical injection systems that treat fuel like a hydraulic force, not a data point. While the world fumbles with broken diesel hybrids in 2026, the wise investor is driving an all-iron EMP-proof machine from the analog era. That machine isn't just transportation, it is a statement of functional independence. Subscribe for the next audit. No talk, just iron. So, do we just accept this? Accept that the new 2026 diesel is a mandated, software-locked maintenance trap designed to bankrupt you at 100,000 kilometers? No, not here. At Factory Audit, we ignore the system by finding the loophole. The loophole isn't an additive or a cheap decarbonizing spray. It is a brutal return to pure mechanics. True diesel isn't chemistry, it's physics. It's iron, air, and hydraulic pressure. The matrix fears the machines it tried to erase, the analog legends. The Toyota 1HZ, the Mercedes OM603. These machines rely on iron and all-mechanical injection pumps. They treat diesel like a force, not data. No DPF to clog. No EGR to self-poison. No fragile sensors to blind the ECU. In 2026, while the world cries over disposable hybrid bills, the smart auditor invests in the only engineering built for eternity. Get out of the matrix. Choose functional independence. This was Factory Audit. No talk, just iron. Subscribe.